And with us, we have the wonderful Serena. Hi, Serena. For those people that don't know you, if you'd like to give us a little introduction, that would be fabulous.
Yeah, sure. I'm actually still getting a little bit set up here. I'm good. I hope you guys are good. You guys have been up for a really long time doing this. So I'm Serena, and my name on Instagram is serena.carnivore. Oops, sorry. Hang on. Sorry, my phone's going nuts here. Okay, sorry, there was some reverberation there. So I do the Carnivore Revolution YouTube channel and also Instagram page, and I just love doing interviews and talking to people. Do you want me to start with like my history and stuff? Is that where you want me to go here?
Please. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I started Carnivore a little over 2 years ago out of desperation. I have a post-COVID issue that makes things taste and smell rotten. It's called parosmia. And I was basically living on sugar at that point because it was the only thing that tasted and smelled good. And when I say that, I don't mean like, I'm a spoiled brat and I want everything to taste good. I mean like things tasted and smelled like a rotten skunk carcass. I mean, it was just one of the most horrible things ever. I was throwing up all the time from the smell of things, would make me nauseous. And the only thing that didn't make me feel that way was sugar. So I was basically living on that and just obviously not feeling good. And fruits and vegetables tasted and smelled rotten. Peanut butter, garlic, onion. There were lots of things, popcorn, coffee. There were lots of things I couldn't eat, but sugar, again, was fine. I could eat just a little bit of meat, but it was really random. And sometimes I couldn't do it. It was a really difficult time for me. I was crying all the time. I just did not feel good. I had started with, maybe 5 pounds to lose, and now I was gaining weight from eating all the sugar. And I was in these Facebook groups where people were one end of the spectrum to the other. They were on feeding tubes in the hospital because they couldn't keep anything down, or they were gaining weight. They were up 50 pounds in 6 months because they couldn't eat, healthy foods because all of those things tasted and smelled rotten. So it was a really, really hard place to be. And I come from a history of eating disorders and disordered eating. I was bulimic for a long time. And then I was always on some sort of a diet, bought my first diet pills when I was 12. And so I was used to eating certain things and not eating what everybody else was eating. I was used to being different, but this was a completely different thing for me. And so I started carnivore after my birthday weekend. I was turning 48 and my girls made me some gluten-free cupcakes because I'd been gluten-free for about 10 years. And I ate 20 cupcakes in 36 hours. And that was like hitting my rock bottom like an alcoholic or a drug addict does. That's how it felt to me. And I woke up on Monday morning and said, I can't do this anymore. I gotta figure out what I'm going to do. And I knew that I could eat like a New York strip fresh off the grill and a hamburger fresh off the grill, but I couldn't eat it if it had been refrigerated and then reheated. It was this really bizarre, some sort of chemical reaction. I don't know, but it smelled horrible to me. And so I just started eating those and just like dove in headfirst into research about how can I do this? Can I survive eating just like ribeyes and hamburgers? And of course, I thought I couldn't. And that's how I started finding people like you guys and so many other people out there like Kelly Hogan and Dr. Baker and Dr. Berry and all of those people, just learning that I can not only can I eat like this and survive, but I can thrive like this. And so that's what I did. I started doing that. It was about 6 months in to eating that way that I realized that I was better. I had heard somebody talk about the difference between an abstainer and a moderator. I think it was Katie Kelly. I saw talking about that and I thought, oh my goodness, no wonder it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. I'm not messed up. I'm not defective, because that's what I thought all those years with all those extreme diets and the calorie counting and the restriction and the bulimia and the disordered eating and like all of those things. I thought that there was something wrong with me. And once I realized that I was just an abstainer, it was like that was my light bulb moment. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm better. Because at this point, it was 6 months in and I realized I don't binge anymore. I don't want sugar and sweets anymore. I don't even care about the cupcakes anymore. It was like something switched. And suddenly I realized that I was better. And I wasn't crying anymore, and I wasn't anxious anymore, and my varicose veins were going away, and I was sleeping really good at that point. And there were so many things that were coming to light for me after 6 months of doing this, things I didn't even really realize because I was so focused on the smell and taste thing that I didn't even realize that all of these other things were better. And it's just amazing. And so, like I said, it's been a little bit over 2 years for me, and it was about a year in, I decided I wanted to share my story and I wanted to help other people and, any way that I could. And so here I am.
Well, that's fabulous. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. And Richard, you've met Serena, haven't you?
Yes. Hey again, Serena. How are you doing? You okay?
Yes, so we've met, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I actually recorded Richard for an interview. And as we decided that we were done and I went to go hit the stop recording button, I realized I had never hit the start recording button. So we have to redo it.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it?
I know. I felt so silly.
Fantastic interview as well, wasn't it? It was.
I know it was.
I thoroughly enjoyed that one. But yeah, we'll get that book back in. We did reschedule. Unfortunately, I had a meeting with either the solicitor or the accountant. And we had to change, but we'll get that definitely booked back in. Thoroughly enjoyed that one, and we'll get you on my show as well, if that's okay.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant. Yeah. So what are we now? 16 hours in? 17 hours in?
We're into our final 7 hours now. Yes.
You guys are amazing.
So we have done 16 hours.
That is crazy.
17 hours. Yeah. 17.
Yeah. I have tuned in several times today to see different people on there, and every time you guys just still look fresh. That must be the ketones. You guys are burning so much fat.
Oh, yeah. I'll be honest. I am starting to flag ever so slightly. I'm still raring to go. But yeah, my mind isn't working as fast as it was earlier. But yeah, we're still here.
So
we're still fighting
it's 1 a.m. for you guys. So you have 7 hours left, right?
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah, right? Well worked. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I would say, I've stood and Richard has sat, and I think I might have a slight edge because I've stood.
Yeah.
I just think it makes you more energized. If someone wants you to sing, you can't really sing when you're sitting down. You can, but it's much better to stand and deliver. So it might just be that. But I tell you what, Richard, I've got that seat behind me, and I have had a couple of minutes on it. When you were talking to Bart, I sat on the seat. Full transparency. So anyway, we have a couple of questions here. So shall we have a look at the question? Let's have a look at this first one here. For people that want to transition to carnivore diet but are not moderators, does it imply they are better off to switch cold turkey style?
I think so. For me, that's what I did, and I am not a moderator. I've never eaten one Oreo cookie. I've probably never eaten one cupcake. Like, it is always, since I was young, it's always been a thing for me that, and I laughed about it, but I was never able to eat just one of something. And so if you're kind of like that and for a fact that you are not a moderator, I do think probably cold turkey is best, because if you go slow, you're going to keep craving those things. You're going to keep craving those sugary things. And that's going to make a difference and make it not as easy for you to make the transition. So I definitely think somebody should go cold turkey. Now, with that being said, I do recommend somebody who is eating like a standard American diet that you do take a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, to kind of limit your processed carbohydrates, your potatoes, your breads, and stuff like that, and just eat like some lower carb vegetables, lower carb fruits for a week or two, so that the transition may not be, like quite as hard. Go ahead and fill up on fatty meats for that week or two, but eat the lower carb vegetables and maybe, like blueberries and strawberries and maybe some blackberries and raspberries as you make that transition. I just think for a lot of people that makes the withdrawal symptoms from the carbs a little bit easier. But if you get a few days into that and you're getting antsy and you feel like, there's always going to be a few days of carb withdrawal that makes you think you need to go back to bread and you need to have a potato or you need to have some sugar. But if you can fight that and you get 3, 4, 5, 6 days in and you feel like those things are just making you want more of the same, more sugar and things like that, then I'd say go ahead and cut it all out cold turkey. Only you. And so that does make a difference for some people, but feel free to reach out. If you have any more questions, reach out to one of us if you need more advice there. But I definitely think if you're not a moderator, in most cases, it's easier just to jump in, but there will be lots of withdrawal symptoms if you jump right in.
What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, again, I think, there's two types of people: step change and incremental change. I'm step change, which means I'm all or nothing. It's got to be black or white for me. A lot of the clients I work with seem to be incremental. So again, it does depend on what type of person you are. I mean, we just spoke with Bart, who says, we should increment it slowly, isn't it, from keto to carnivore over a few weeks. But again, if you're the type of person who can't do that and moderate things, then that step change approach is probably the better protocol. There is not one size fits all, and this is something we keep coming back to again. This is the recurring topic, I think, isn't it? That we're all on our own journey. We have to do what works for us. It's all about sustainability, whatever it takes to keep us on that straight and narrow. And that is the key to success, isn't it? Is keeping that sustainability. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, so someone there singing your praises, Serena. So tell us a little bit about how the carnivore revolution works, or how your coaching has worked, because there you go, she's saying it's very encouraging. How do people contact you, and what's the process?
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm glad that I am helping people. So you can just message me, and also the link for my coaching is in my bio on Instagram, and you can always comment on YouTube on one of the videos, and I'll see it. I try to respond to all of the comments on YouTube and on Instagram, but feel free to message me. I do group coaching twice a week. Usually you sign up for an entire month of that. So like you would sign up for August now, and the sessions are Wednesday morning at 10, Wednesday evening at 8, I think. I'd have to double check on that, but it is on the website. And so you can look that up and you can see, and we just get together that one time a week. You would either sign up for Wednesday morning or Wednesday evening. We would get together that one time a week, and we would talk about your struggles. We would talk about getting started. We would talk about food ideas, recipe ideas, and things like that to just kind of get you on your journey and help you along the way. And we all have mess ups sometimes. I have one lady that's been trying to get coaching with me. We did one. She paid for 4 individual sessions because she didn't want to do the group, and I can't get a hold of her. I knew she was having a hard time. I've tried to talk to her and she just won't answer. I knew that she was struggling, and so I just keep reaching out to her, because we all mess up, and it's important to know that everybody messes up and everybody needs help sometimes. And there's always somebody that you can reach out to. The carnivore community is so accepting of people and so helpful. I was really surprised by that when I first started, because, you think you're new to this community, you have all these questions, and people answer right away most of the time. Everybody is always so encouraging. So if you ever have any questions or any problems, make sure you reach out to somebody. But that's how my coaching works. You would sign up for Wednesday morning or Wednesday evening, and we would meet every Wednesday at whichever time for the whole month of August, and just talk about those things with the group and share our struggles and stuff.
It's brilliant. Yeah. And that's on Mighty Networks, isn't it? Did you say the carnivore?
Yes. We've been using the Mighty Network, but I got to be honest, the Mighty Network is incredibly difficult to use. It is not an easy, it took me a month. It took me something like 16 hours to get one page up and running on there. And so we've kind of drifted away from, we still have the free Mighty Network, but we're not doing the paid versions of the coaching in there anymore. So we're still on there. It works kind of like Facebook does. You can go in and you can post things. That's still free, and that's still there for the community. But the coaching will just be on Zoom, and the communication will happen in a Facebook group there.
Yeah, that's cool. Rich, do you have any questions from your chat the other day? Was there something you wanted to pick up on a little bit?
My goodness, it was so long ago, and we've spoken to so many people today. You're 20 odd hours in. My mind. Is that
That's
your dog? Oh, your dog. I thought maybe it was Stephen. But
I can mute it, but then you won't be able to hear me. She'll stop in just a minute. My husband's home from work.
I was going to say
that's how she greets him every day.
That's one hell of an alarm system, isn't it?
It's a German Shepherd. She is so loud. She's so barky. Well, I'll tell you that I am doing 75 Hard, which I completed. I completed the original 75 Hard program, and then moved on to the Live Hard program that comes after that. 75 Hard is a mental toughness challenge that people usually think is an exercise challenge, but it's not. I mean, you have to do 2 45-minute workouts a day, and one has to be outside. They can just be walks. They can be whatever you want them to be. And I completed that and moved on to the phase 1 program of the Live Hard program, which is all of those tasks plus some other tasks that you have to do. And I got to day 29 and only had my gratitude journal and my Bible reading to do. And I came upstairs to bed and I did my Bible reading, and I put my phone on to charge. and went to bed and woke up at 8 o'clock the next morning, or 7 o'clock the next morning, and realized I had forgotten to do my gratitude journal on day 29. So I woke up on the very last day realizing I had messed up the day before, and I had to come clean and start over, because if you miss even one thing. So my gratitude journal literally is, today I'm grateful for 1, 2, 3 things. It could take me 15 seconds if I use Siri, and I messed up and had to start over. And so I'm on day 9 of that again, and threw my back out yesterday. I'm not starting over, guys. I am not starting over again. So I basically crawled back and forth in my driveway. Not really crawled, but I walked at a snail's pace back and forth in my driveway for 45 minutes before we started this, like literally at a snail's pace, like a 10th of the speed I usually walk, just to be able to get that 45 minutes in, because I said I was going to do it and I feel like I have to do it. But my back is killing me. It's like, like it gets, like you feel like it's about to get stuck. Like whichever way you move, you feel like it's going to get stuck. I'd like to say I heard it do, like, doing a PR in deadlifts or something, but that's not what happened. I was getting out of the shower when it happened yesterday. And so my back's killing me. Any suggestions?
Rest, I would usually suggest, but I don't think that's an option for you at the moment, is it? Unfortunately. Have you ever tried keto or carnivore? It's really good for inflammation.
Absolutely. Maybe I'll try that. When we're done, I'm going to go down and do a friend of mine that's a PT gave me some stretches to do. So I'm going to go down and do those and ice it when we're done. It just is killing me. And I had 2 really busy days too, yesterday and today. And so, kind of holding my breath all day where you're afraid you're going to move it wrong. It's just crazy. So yeah, that stinks.
Where is it hurting? Right at the base of your spine?
Yeah. It's not really my spine though. It's like both sides of my spine, real low on my back.
Right. Okay. Yes. Well, it's difficult actually to give you advice online.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Right. Let's have a look here. What have we got here? Somebody actually saying that they've done the 75 hard unofficially.
Oh, Mike. I know, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I'm not overly keen on drinking 6 liters of water per day. Is that something that you prescribe? Is it?
Well, the 75 hard challenge is a gallon of water a day. And in the beginning, I hadn't used electrolytes in a year. That's just one of the things. You have to take a progress picture, do the 2 workouts. One has to be outside regardless of weather. And then you have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, follow a diet, and no alcohol. I think those are the things in the original 75 hard program. So for me, I hadn't used electrolytes in more than a year. And I started 75 hard. I usually drink about 3 quarts of water, and I started 75 hard. And like 2 weeks in, I thought I was dying. I was like, I didn't think I could get out of bed. I was so weak. And my friend Olivia, who you guys know, said, it sounds like electrolytes. And I was like, really good point, because I'm not used to drinking a whole gallon of water. And I added the electrolytes in, and it was completely better. So yeah, I think with the electrolytes, a gallon is doable, especially since we're working out twice a day. I think it's doable. Jen says, yeah, Jen, that's who gave me my workout. That's who gave me my stretches yesterday. Jen is a doctor of physical therapy. She's one of my dear friends. It's 3.8 liters, not 6, she says to Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say 6 seems ever such a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've got somebody giving you a little bit of advice, but I think Richard beat Sheena to it. Cut out carbs, no more pain, no more back issues. So yes, I think that's pretty good. If you was to sum up what we had a question earlier and it made everybody laugh because most questions are really long. They just said, why carnivore? So if someone said that to you, what would you say?
I would say, to ask me about all of the benefits that I have from being a carnivore and from being on a low carb diet. And then I would send them to all of my other friends who I would send them to you guys. I would send them to Jen. I would send them to Kelly Hogan. I would say, check out all of these people. And these are the benefits that they have gotten. So I don't need scientific studies. You know what I mean? I am my scientific study. I think if you're somebody who has tried everything like I had to figure out, my weight and my body composition, and just at 48 years old, I was getting out of bed and I was a little bit stiff and my joints would hurt a little bit. And I just thought that's what being 48 was. I thought this is what happens as you get older. And so I would say, if you're one of those people and you've tried all of these different things and you've tried supplements and you've tried every diet you can think of to lose weight or get the body composition that you want or to heal your whatever it is, autoimmune conditions, whatever your issue is, arthritis, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, whatever your issue is, if you've literally tried everything, what have you got to lose? Try it for 30 days and see how you feel. And then let's talk about it, you know, because I think asking all of the questions to somebody who's already doing it, like me, who has had great success, my answer is going to be carnivore for just about anything, that any kind of issue somebody has, because I have seen it help so many people with so many different issues. So my response is always going to be carnivore for 30 days because it has made such a huge impact on me. Just like if somebody goes to the store and they buy a shirt and you see them and you say, oh, I love your shirt. And they say, oh, I got it at TJ Maxx. Well, I'm going to go to TJ Maxx and I'm going to look at the clothes, right? But if I tell somebody I'm doing carnivore and this is what's healed, they're always like, oh, where's your scientific evidence? You know, it's always like they'll, you know, you'll take people's advice for little things, right? Or if I made this delicious coffee that I loved with all these artificial things in it and I took it around and let people taste it and they loved it, nobody would ask me for a scientific thing, right? Nobody's going to McDonald's when they're serving Shamrock Shakes and asking them for the scientific evidence that it doesn't hurt them, right? But as soon as you tell somebody to cut out all of that stuff and eat really good, healthy foods, they freak out like, where's the evidence? Well, I'm the evidence. Richard's the evidence. Stephen is the evidence, right? I mean, all of these people are the evidence that we need to see it and to see the difference that it has made in people's lives. And so why carnivore is what have you got to lose? Just try it and see how you feel. 30 days of anything isn't gonna hurt you. If I told somebody to juice for 30 days, they would automatically think that's healthy. But when I tell them to eat meat for 30 days, they freak out like that doesn't seem right. But that's the plant-based agenda. That's what we've been hearing for multiple years now. And butter is bad. Red meat is bad. It's going to cause heart disease. And how people think it causes diabetes, I will never understand. But you will go out and try all of these other things and think that it's fine. But if I tell you to just eat meat, you're going to push back on it, you know, but give it 30 days and see how it makes you feel, because I think you'll be surprised. 30 days is enough. 30 days is enough to get the withdrawals out of your system and to start to feel really, really good.
Richard, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I think that nails it in a nutshell, doesn't it? I mean, we made a comment earlier when we were looking at the guests who were on the show. Everyone looks incredibly fit and healthy. There's not one obese person that has been on to speak. You know, we can't say that amongst any other community, really, can we? You know, the second you look outside of that door, most people look unhealthy or they're overweight. They're carrying a little bit of central adiposity. Everyone that's been on the show looks vibrant. They look healthy. Yes, Stephen and I probably a little bit worse for wear, you know, 20 something hours in. But I mean, you know, coming back to a point that Stephen made earlier, I could not do this on carbohydrate. I had 3 hours sleep last night. You know, so this is, my goodness, and I've got to work tomorrow. So I mean, Stephen will be going to bed just after 8. I've got to do another shift. You know, I could not do this on carbohydrate. The lifestyle is self-evident, and we are that scientific paper. We are, you know, the results of living a lifestyle. Every one of us has got an incredible journey. And it's not just something small. These are massive things. And we're not talking just weight loss. We're talking reversal of diabetes. We're talking, you know, curbing and combating migraines, debilitating daily migraines, chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety, people with cancers and tumors. And I'm not saying this as medical advice, you know, that this is going to do that. But obviously we can't give that medical advice. But these are the circles that we work in. These are the stories that we are hearing within the community day on day. So yeah, I mean, you know, why carnivore? Well, as you say, why not? You know, let's flip it around, because the benefits, we almost sound like a broken record. And Stephen and I were speaking recently in regards to why some of the influencers within the community seem to be veering away from carnivore, or maybe having changing their opinions in certain regards. This may be genuine. Sometimes, you know, I do question whether it is financially based in regards to views and keeping people entertained, because there's only so many times that you can tell someone to go and eat a steak. You know, I've got this problem. What's the answer? Go and eat a steak. You know, I'm suffering with advanced polycystic kidney disease. Go and eat a steak. I'm type 2 diabetic. Go and eat a steak. You know, it's the same message that we are you know, touting, but it is as simple as that, isn't it? Diet is responsible for all of these, at least predominantly these issues and conditions that we are suffering from. And it is as simple as that. Living a lifestyle that is devoid of anti-nutrients, eating foods that are highly nutrient dense, avoiding these processed foods, these grains high in lectins, these vegetable oils high in oxidized omega-6. It is that same drum, and I hate to keep beating it, but this is the answer. It's almost like the magic elixir. But when you tell someone that, as you say, you tell them to go on a juice diet for a month, which is massively high in oxalates, which could kill you. I mean, to put that into perspective, I used to do juicing. I used to do my smoothies. I would put a pack of spinach into a smoothie every day, along with my turmeric and black pepper to block the absorption, or to increase the absorption even. These oxalates can kill us at 5,000 milligrams. A standard pack of spinach contains around 1,500 milligrams. But what do? We add turmeric, which is more oxalates, and we add the black pepper, which blocks
and the kale. Don't forget the kale.
And the kale. Yet you tell somebody to do that, they wouldn't bat an eye. You tell them to go and eat red meat. My goodness, what about cancer and all of these other issues? And it baffles me. But you've hit the nail right on the head. We are the product of living this lifestyle, and I'm proud to be part of that product and the movement.
Yeah, and if for the people watching, if you are confused about it and we're answering your why carnivore and you disagree with that, go ahead and get Nina Teicholz's book, The Big Fat Surprise, and it will blow you away. Ancel Keys, look up Ancel Keys. He's the scientist that originally said he thought fat made you fat and caused heart disease. And later on, they had all kinds of evidence that he was wrong. And, he made his mark on history, though, and left a very, very sick world from all of the people in civilized countries that follow the advice that he came up with. And I read somewhere, and this hasn't been confirmed, but I did read somewhere that later on he actually said at one point, maybe I was wrong. But it was way too late at that point. The food pyramid had already been created. I mean, it was too late. And I want to show you guys that if you go to my Instagram page and you see one of the first posts that I have pinned is this before and after of me. Let me get it where you can see it. So this is backwards. I'm having a hard time pointing. This is me on lots of vegetables, very few fruits, and lean meats. I probably hadn't had hamburger in a year. And this is me a year on carnivore. I actually weighed more in this after picture than I did in this picture. And this is just inflammation. That is the biggest difference because I actually weigh more in the more current, more recent picture. That's what inflammation can do. It can make you look like a different person. So this is why carnivore. If you're wondering why carnivore, this is why. I can't get it. It's all washed out now. But that's why. I mean, that's the difference that it can make in just inflammation. That's not even weight loss. And I don't even look like the same person. And I had no idea how swollen my face was and how inflamed my body was just from all the vegetables that I was eating that I thought were so good for me. Oh, that's a good one.
So this is me. So that's what it's done to me. So clinically obese, type 2 diabetic, daily debilitating migraines, chronic fatigue, arthritic pains, depression, anxiety. 12 months later, the picture wasn't 12 months, the picture was 4 to 5 years, but I like the picture, so I've used it. But 107 pound fat loss in 12 months, reversal of diabetes, migraine-free, full of energy, pain-free, depression, anxiety-free. This is what it's done to me. And I am not genetically gifted because this was my father. This is where I came from. And as you can see, this was the way that I was heading, but I changed the foods that I'm consuming and I managed to achieve a European championship at a professional level from being unable to walk up my stairs and being clinically obese. And I put 3 stone on top of this as well. So this wasn't me at my biggest either. I put 3 stone on top of this, but as many do within the community, we don't like the way we look. I didn't have any pictures taken after it, but yeah, that's what the lifestyle has done to me. That may put an awful lot of people off, but I did that for a reason, to show how far we can push the diet and lifestyle and what it can do when we decide to push to extremities. And it's through creating these ripples, I think, that we will, we will make the difference, isn't it? But yeah, 2 perfect examples there of how quite literally changing the food we eat affects health, well-being, and body composition. And I know body composition seems to be a vanity thing, but it isn't, because if we think we look good, then we feel good. If we look good, we feel good. And that's what it's done for me.
Yeah, and the food we eat affects every single cell in our body. So when you eat a Pop-Tart, How do you think that affects your cells, right? I mean, it's the nutrition. It's like putting the wrong gas in your car, and people think that is so cliche, but it's true. If you put the wrong kind of gas in your car, then you get the wrong response that you want. And it's the same way with our food. If we put those kinds of foods in our body, that's what we get out of our body. And if we put all natural, whole foods, heavy meat, high fat, which every cell in our body also needs. Every cell needs the cholesterol. Every cell needs the fat. Our brain runs on cholesterol, and people just don't see it. They'd rather have a Pop-Tart or a piece of cake. Yeah. So since starting keto, then carnivore, was able to get off all heart meds. That's awesome. That's amazing. It's a very good. So that's why carnivore too, right? Absolutely.
I mean, it's endless, isn't it? The benefits.
It is.
So, your PT has entered the room. She's going to tell you off.
No, she's not.
I can't believe you're not doing your exercises right now, Serena.
I did it. Did you not hear me? I did it before. You should have seen me walking. Look at my story from earlier and how slow I was walking in my driveway. I was like, literally.
No, I did. I heard you, and I'm so proud of you because I know this means a lot to you with Live Hard and 75 Hard, and I've been able to sort of walk alongside Serena for that whole thing, and that's been a blessing to me.
Well, she has been a blessing to me. Let me tell you the messages that I have left her. We're talking like I would be outside walking in the rain, crying, sending Jen voice messages like, I just don't think I could do it today. It's too hard and it's raining. And then remember the day I was trying to get help with the Mighty Network and I had to come inside and take a call real quick from the Mighty Network people. And I thought I'd go right back out. I'd already done 30 minutes and I thought I'll just go out and finish it. And I went out and did like 15 more minutes while talking to Jen. And she said, you have to start over. And I had to go back in and talk to the Mighty Network people again. And then I had to go back out and do another 45 minutes. And that was still just my first workout. I had to do a whole nother one after that. But the amount of times I left Jen messages crying, telling her I didn't think I could do it today. And she was so good about it. She's what kept me going.
So Serena, thank you for your half hour. That's fabulous.
Thank you guys.
So we're going to boot you out of the room now and you're going to pass the baton to Jennifer, who's going to
Good to see you, Jen. Love you,
Serena,
guys. Thank you.
We'll be in touch to reorganize that podcast
Absolutely.
As well. So I'll reach out to you soon. But thanks for coming on. Been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Serena.
Bye.
Hey there, Jennifer.
I'm here. And nice to meet you, Richard. We haven't met.
Yes.
So it's really
nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on board. You look awfully bright-eyed and bushy-tailed there, which is more than I can say for Stephen and myself. But
I haven't been at this for 17 hours or something like that.
What are we on now, Steve?
17 hours, 32 minutes. Who's counting? Jennifer, yes. Introduce yourself to the people watching.
Yeah, so my name is Jennifer Geissert. I am a doctor of physical therapy, which is why I was kind of giving Serena some grief about her back. I work in a hospital setting. I just worked today and had an interesting day when it comes to what people are eating, though that is not my job, right? It's not to advise on nutrition, but it's just incredible what I see. And I've been carnivore for 1.5 years. I first started this lifestyle because of some really, really bad autoimmune issues that I was dealing with. I had psoriasis and vasculitis, and believe me, it was like as bad as it gets. And I also had a binge eating disorder for 20 plus years. So all of those things have resolved on this diet. And so now I'm the weirdo who only eats meat and eggs.
Well, that's good, isn't it? I mean, that's a nice little short précis. I'm going to just say your Instagram, by the way, which I just flashed up on the screen, is brilliant. I do like your content. I know a few people don't like you dressing up as Santa Claus in July. I have spotted that some people don't see the humor in it, but I do. I think it's fab. You've not met Richard before?
Correct. I mean, I think we follow each other, but that's about it.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's cool. Richard, you got any questions for a carnivore PT?
Yeah, I mean, so you've been carnivore for 1.5 years. What was the kick that managed, or that catalyst that drove you into becoming full carnivore? Because were you ketogenic prior to that? Low carb?
I had been keto on and off for a few years before carnivore. And, but it was not helping me at all with my skin issues, my autoimmune skin issues. It was helping me to manage my weight. But I had been such a bad binge eater that even on keto, you know, I would start with a keto treat here and there, and then it would just be full blown, all the sugar, not keto at all. And I would just binge like that every few days. And then I would be really strict with my keto diet and I'd drop a little bit of weight and then I'd just binge. So it was just constant up and down, gaining 10 to 20 pounds most months probably. But then I've had psoriasis since I was 7 years old. And in my mid 30s, I went on an autoimmune, like an immunosuppressant for it. And as soon as I went on that, I just had one health issue after another, starting with a chronic strep throat that I had for about 6 months. And then it got really bad. Then I had to take all these medications for it. And then I ended up with vasculitis. Like when I tell you my body exploded, I'm not kidding. My whole body was like an explosion of vasculitis. And I was in the hospital for a few days. And then I kind of got over that a little bit. And then a few months later, my psoriasis was like 100 times worse than it had ever been all of my life. And I was still on this medication that was supposed to be clearing it, which it had. It was completely clear, but then it caused one health issue after another. And so I was just fed up at that point. Like, what the heck? I've been through one medical thing after another for now a calendar year. No one can help me. I've seen so many doctors. All they want to do is give me one prescription after another and just tell me like, sorry, it's bad luck. You just happen to have this autoimmune stuff. When you have one autoimmune thing, you're likely to have another. You know, see you next month when you come back for your refill. And so I went to see a naturopath thinking maybe there's something that can be done. Somebody can help me. I just hadn't lost hope yet, you know? And it was actually the naturopath's nutritionist that told me about carnivore. And so, you know, that was a weird appointment. Like I was not expecting to hear her say, you should try an elimination diet and only eat meat for a while. But she did say that. And she also mentioned people like Michaela Peterson and Kelly Hogan. And so I left there and looked them up and was incredibly encouraged for the first time in a long time, which I really needed because it had been a hard year. And that's kind of how I got down this path.
And then you became the weirdo that only eats meat and eggs.
That's right.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that just adds more weight to the fact that, you know, it's not one diet suits all, is it? You know, being ketogenic is a fantastic step in the right direction. And for most people, that is plenty enough. But it's this consumption sometimes of those lectins from some of the keto treats or from some of the so-called keto-friendly foods. You know, we keep coming back to tomatoes, bell peppers, and onions and things that contain these lectins, which are causing this intestinal permeability or the casein from milk. And in some cases, especially autoimmune, it's only going the full hog, isn't it? And becoming carnivore, do we see a complete resolution? And have you indeed seen a complete resolution of all of those problems now? Or do you still suffer with any at all? Or is it just a case that you're able to maintain and manage them?
Well, with my skin conditions, complete resolution, and I've been off all my medications for 9 months, which is just baffling to me. When it comes to my binge eating, I never even thought this would help my binge eating. That was just a surprise. But I will say, if I were to have cake right now, I'm not sure that I wouldn't go back to binge eating. So I don't know that I'm like cured of that, but that's certainly managed because I no longer eat anything that triggers any kind of urges. And what you were saying about some, like, I think maybe kind of what you were insinuating is that some people probably do fine on just a regular old keto diet. But for someone like me with two things that I think it didn't work for me, one is the binge eating and one is the autoimmune. I think there were just too many foods in there that were still too triggering for me from the sweet tooth perspective. And so I could not stop binging. And then also foods with these anti-nutrients and such that just would not allow my skin to heal. So I'm not saying that no one with an autoimmune disorder or no one with binge eating can succeed on keto. I think probably they can, but it just wasn't the right thing for me. However, had I not been trying to do keto already for a few years on and off, I don't know if I would have been so successful with carnivore because it would have been such a switch from what I had been doing. So, you know, it's hard to say. This is just the path that I went down and what worked for me.
Yeah, and again, that seems to be the general story, isn't it? That this movement or segue into becoming carnivore almost sees this complete resolution. And we keep coming back to food addiction constantly, don't we? And again, just to reiterate a point that we did with Dr. Unwin's, the Unwin's plural. Food addiction is not a recognized illness in the US or the UK. We know gambling addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, but there is no food addiction. And again, this addiction to binge eating. I've been there. I think I don't know if you were online earlier. I think you may have nipped to the loo, Stephen. But I think I probably released a little bit of information that I don't think I've told anybody online before. In regards to when I was clinically obese, I used to make myself sick. Trying to lose weight, and that's you hear about that around the female community, but not many men, I think, are open in admitting that. But that's the kind of position that I was in. I was so addicted to food that I would stuff my face, with all of these Pop-Tarts and whatever else it was, and I would rather make myself sick so I could eat them again. Food addiction is a real thing. And it comes back, I don't want to keep going over the same thing again, but again, it is a different audience, I'm guessing now, compared to when we mentioned it earlier. But the effect on dopamine and the catecholinergic neurotransmitters in the brain, and how certain foods that we consume and don't consume affect the absorption of those neurotransmitters, or the cofactors involved with creating those neurotransmitters. This food addiction thing is a real thing, and I think that's something that needs to be addressed more and more, because it's something that we don't talk about. So that's a big factor for me. Have you ever been addicted to food in that sense, Steve?
No, I haven't. I like food. I mean, that's.
I love food.
Yeah. Well, there are some carnivores that will say food is not entertainment. It's just nutrients, and I get that too. If that helps them to get where they want to be. I actually enjoy food. I like sitting down. I like looking at food and thinking that looks great. I like eating it. But I think the carb addiction is pretty strong with many people, and I am the same. I think, well, Jen looked to the left and she said she was going to eat something. If she ate something, she might go back. Well, my thing would be something like cheesecake or something, but we don't do it. That's the thing. We keep away from it because we know it. We know that that's the bad path, but it is difficult when you're addicted. I have been asked to ask Jen something in particular. I think she's going to laugh because there must be something funny about this.
Uh-oh.
Ask Jen about her dog's diet.
Oh yeah, my dog's a carnivore too. I have a Doberman, and she was having some health issues about a year ago, and a similar thing, going to the vet multiple times and kind of just getting the same answer. So I was like, forget it. I'm just putting her on an all meat diet too. And so believe me, she's never been happier. She eats ground beef and chicken legs and liver and eggs and loves me more than she's ever loved me.
Great. My dog is a raw carnivore as well. One of the questions that was submitted online for another guest, actually, but I think it's a really apt question to ask you. What's the most common problem that people encounter with this way of eating, in your opinion?
I think, one that I see a lot is this sort of self-pity where they're like, well, why can't I just be normal? And why can't I just have the things that other people can have? And coming at it from that mindset just sort of sets you up to fail, because instead of seeing it as, like, I actually see my skin conditions as a blessing. My body is telling me what I should and shouldn't put into it. And not many people have that blessing. They don't have those signals. So I just feel lucky to be able to say, okay, I'm going to choose to eat these things because I can actually know exactly how to be my most healthy self. And so for somebody who's maybe struggling with an eating disorder or a skin condition or mental health problems or whatever, diabetes, like, they actually have this winning tool that's going to make them feel so much better. And potentially reverse this issue just by changing their diet, and they get to choose to do that. And so, yeah, I think it's just the mindset, getting the right mindset that if you don't have it, it's pretty hard to succeed on something so restrictive. But if you do have it, you can just recognize how lucky you are.
I think social situations and being accepted, going out with a group of people and not being the weirdo, which is what I am, and I had that clearly said by somebody in a restaurant. He's the weirdo as soon as the server came over. But I think if you do it with a smile on your face and you see that, it's funny, rather than get het up and angry, I think that's the way to cope with it, really. So do you track? I mean, earlier on there was a big hoo-ha because one of our people talked about calories. I mean, do you track macros? Do you track calories? How do you set your day up?
I have at times, depending on what particular goals I was trying to work toward at that moment, but generally no. I typically eat 2 to 3 meals a day, and I just try to eat basically until I'm full. My dog's here. You probably can't see her, but my little carnivore dog. But yeah, I still, I have that history of disordered eating. So if I try to restrict too much with calories or my feeding window or whatever, or if I'm just paying too close of attention to it all, it just seems to sort of get my mind back on this obsessing over food thing. So I just know that I'm better off when I'm paying less attention and I'm kind of just going by my hunger cues, which is not always easy. But I have learned recently that if I just don't snack at all, only meals, then it's not so hard.
Yeah, I think being intuitive is the best thing, isn't it? And I think we get to know it. Here's a question which may not be pertinent to you, but we'll see it. Experienced coaches, what's the best way to get into coaching? I'm almost 4 years carnivore, student of health for years. I'd like to get into helping more people and I want to do it right. Do you have any views, Jen?
I do. I think the first thing is just get a little group following you and give them free advice. So if that's starting an Instagram page or YouTube or whatever, just offering this advice is going to attract your people to you, the people that need to hear your message. And then they're going to start asking more questions and you're going to have more sort of fuel in the tank of like more tools in the toolbox of these are the questions that people have. So I'm going to start providing that information. Well, then as people begin to know, like, and trust you, they're going to really want your opinion on things. And they're going to start DMing you and asking to work with you one-on-one. And as soon as that happens, I mean, that may just be a couple of months. You can start coaching. You could do one-on-one or group coaching or whatever. And of course it's going to start small, but I think that's the best way of just building genuine relationships.
What about you, Rich? What would you say?
In regards to coaching? Yeah, I guess, I mean, how did I start? I changed my life, found a secret, wanted to tell the world about my secret. And I probably get ostracized the same way that you do. I'm the weirdo that, only eats meat, eggs, fish and cheese. When I go to the restaurant, I'm the one that doesn't want my food cooked in seed oils. But I like that. I think it's good to be, to stand out. But I began giving free advice to friends and family. They saw the volume of weight that I lost. And I know this isn't about weight loss, but unfortunately, this is what people see, isn't it? They notice that, you've lost an incredible amount of weight. They don't look at you and think that, you look incredibly healthy. It's look at the weight you've lost. So people, friends and family approached me in regards to that. I began helping them for free. And then I began coaching for free. I retrained as a nutritionist, although everything that they taught me was incorrect. It was a hoop that I had to jump through in order to get my certification, which isn't worth the paper that it's printed on. But, one of the things that the tutor said to me when I qualified was that part of being a nutritionist is staying up to date with modern research. And this person was well up on, she understood that I was ketogenic and she was well for that. Despite teaching me incorrectly, she understood about real nutrition and encouraged me to further educate myself in regards to the lifestyle of being ketogenic, and not so much carnivore, but the effect of high carbohydrate on insulin resistance, and understanding that all carbohydrates is sugar, and that's a common thing that I think most people don't understand. Carbohydrates is sugar. They are one and the same. We shouldn't differentiate. But that's how I began. It pretty much as you said. I started an Instagram. I was never on Facebook until I started coaching. I had a Facebook account, but I never posted on there. I began posting. Still not very popular on there to this day, but still, I do try. But as you say, it's working with like-minded people doing things like this, isn't it? Jeremiah, the first start there now, is putting that comment on networking again with like-minded people. Start teaching people things that you have learned, and lead by example. If you are the picture of health, people will want to learn your secrets, and they will begin to understand and believe in what you're saying. It's this authority and trust, isn't it? If I was still clinically obese, people would not listen to me. If I go to a gym looking for a gym instructor, and there's two instructors there, if one is in incredible shape and the other is overweight, which one are you going to take advice from? Now, the advice could be equal from both of them, but you're going to go with the one who's in shape, because that is the one that appears to be practicing what they preach. If you go to a dentist and one has perfect teeth, which and the other doesn't, which one are you going to go to? And this is why I believe that we are the product of what we're preaching. That's incredibly important as well. Practice what you preach, and be the picture of health. And as I said earlier, everyone that's been on this show in the last 20 odd hours has been a picture of health. Again, I'm probably waning more than Stephen now, but we did look bright-eyed and bushy-tailed when we began 20 odd hours ago.
Yeah. We've got a question here from someone called Robert Kiltz, MD, which sounds like an American cop show, doesn't it? Or something like that. Robert Kiltz, MD. Jen, how important is it to feed our dogs and cats a meat-based diet?
Well, I think it's really important, because I think you can argue even more with dogs, for example, and cats, that they should be eating meat, even more than humans. I mean, of course, we all think humans should be too, but that's up for debate amongst the general population. But dogs, I mean, in the wild, they would be eating meat. So I don't even understand why people have any suggestion otherwise. Obviously, they love it. I think that so many of the health problems that the dogs I've always had, so many of their problems are from eating the chemicals in their kibble, and even just plants. Like, why are they in there? Why does my dog need to eat peas? I just don't understand
it. Rich, have you got pets?
Not anymore. I've had dogs and pets all my life. Currently, I don't have any, unfortunately. I'm too busy with work. I'm working 18-hour days, 7 days a week. I did have a Siberian Husky as a pup, and I took the decision to pass him on to a loving family that had the time to look after him, because being a Siberian Husky, they're a pulling animal. They need to be walked, and they need the attention that they deserve, and I didn't have that to give. I haven't had a day off work in 7 years, over 7 years, believe it or not. Well overdue some time off, I think. But yeah, I just didn't feel that it was fair to keep him cooped up. He had a massive garden to run around in, but still, that's not an ideal situation for an animal like that to be in. So yeah, I haven't had one for the last few years, unfortunately. But
yeah, well, I've missed my dog today. I can't believe it, actually, because when I set this up,
what about your wife?
We are talking about animals. Yes, of course, I miss my wife very much. But but yeah, and it's funny, isn't it? You just accept that dog as a part of your family, and today I've really felt quite distant from him. I can't wait. He's in that room just there asleep, and it's like I can't wait for this to end for that one thing. That's the only thing I'm really looking forward to. Two things: hugging my wife and hugging my dog. Right?
Yeah, you better get that in there. She's probably watching.
Yes. Yeah, I counter that. Yeah, same with wife and my little girl. You know, they've been here back and forth today, but obviously doing this for such a long period of time. But you take these things for granted, don't you? It's only when you're removed from that situation, I guess, that you begin to notice those things, isn't it?
Yeah. So tell us a story, Jen, of why you're Father Christmas in July.
Oh, well, I don't know if you have this in the UK, but in the States, there's Christmas in July is a fairly common thing. Like stores will have sales and there will be different giveaways. So I'm doing a Christmas in July giveaway. It was supposed to be 12 days, like 12 days of Christmas, but I ended up only having 11. So for 11 days, I'm giving away 11 of my favorite sort of carnivore friendly items. I got all these companies involved, kind of like you got all this set up. I got all this stuff set up with these 11 companies. So every day there's a winner to win one of the items. And then at the end, there's a big grand prize giveaway where one person will win everything from the 11 days. But that means that for 11 days, I'm posting a very promotional reel and nobody's complained. Nobody's complained at all. But I'm sure that some of my followers are like, okay, we cannot wait for Christmas in July to be over. We're done with this. But they've been troopers for sure. And every day, hundreds of people enter to win. And it's been really exciting and fun to pick a winner every day. And, whoever wins is really excited. So it's been good.
Yeah. And I think that's, good of you to just go to all that effort to get all these freebies for people. It's really, really good. Have we got any more questions? I just saw two things flash up. Yes, I am going to be in trouble. Yes. So,
Is that your wife? Oh no, that's Serena.
No. My wife went to bed about 10 o'clock actually. So, what do you think? What has carnivore given you? What's the best thing? If you could say the best thing about it is this, what would it be?
So many things. That's really hard. I would say just simplicity in my life. I no longer have to be stressed out about if I'm going to binge at a party or if I'm going to fit in the clothes that I take with me on a vacation by the end of the vacation, or if I can show my legs because of my psoriasis. I don't even really think about going to the grocery store or having food. Like I just have stuff. I just have meat in the freezer ready to go at all times. And even with social situations, you guys kind of both mentioned social situations. Like I'm dating, I go on dates. There's no stress. Like I just know if this is a place where they have meat, then I'm going to order the meat. And if they don't, then I'm not going to eat. And at first that was a little bit weird a year and a half ago. But now I feel like it's just such a part of who I am that I almost I just enjoy it. And I enjoy that it's simple and people just know what to expect and I know what to expect. And I love that.
Yeah, simplicity is key to it, I think, because it's very easy to cook, I think, with an air fryer. It's not that difficult, or a frying pan. It's really, really, really simple. But anyway, Jen, that's your time up, I think. Is there anything you want to say to people?
If you're watching and you're not sure if you want to do this, I think just try it. And there's lots of different ways to try it. You can ease in, you can go right in, you can do all the grass-fed and grass-finished and pasture-raised, or you can do grocery store, even sort of processed stuff to start out. Just start, see how you feel, give it like a month, see how you feel, and your body's going to tell you, I need more of this or less of this. And, you're going to find your right fit, and you're going to find your people too, because there's lots of different influencers out there offering all kinds of different information. And if sometimes it seems frustrating because it's a bit conflicting, but it's because we're all just a little different. We all have a little different needs. So sort of soak up all that you can get to find your perfect fit.
Brilliant. Rich, have you got a final question?
No, love that. I think, fantastic story, fantastic journey. The only thing that I wanted to add was in regards to when you said about, not being able to eat these foods and find it restrictive. And that was a comment that somebody threw at me a long time ago in a social situation is, they had a bowl like whatever it was, some food that I couldn't, that I didn't want to eat. And the comment was that you can't eat this, can you? Because you're on keto. And my answer to that was, well, of course I can. I can eat whatever I want. It's just today I'm choosing not to eat that food. And I think when we acknowledge the fact that we can eat whatever we want, it's our choice whether we want to eat that food or not. It's not a case of you can't eat anything. You can eat whatever you want. Today I'm choosing not to eat that food. Tomorrow I may decide to eat it. But when we decide to think that way, we own that situation, and now it doesn't become, we're not deprived of anything. It's a choice that we are actively making, and that was the mental breakthrough for me in regards to combating or help to combat that food addiction, and especially in those social situations. It's my choice. I can eat whatever I want. Today I'm choosing not to.
Yeah, completely agree. When you're empowered with that mindset, it doesn't feel like deprivation at all.